Injury Lawyers, LA 21-12681. Offices in Baton Rouge.
Hanny time. Hanny time. A daily look at sports from our resident historian. Your sports break during your lunch break. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios. Here's Charles Sandegriff.
And a very pleasant good afternoon to you. Welcome to Hanny Time, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Charles Sandegriff, Mario Jerez, Taylor Sharp. Just so much stuff going on. This is one of those football, baseball, basketball days, okay? You're coming off of an LSU basketball game last night in which they won. Hold the presses. They play again tonight. The baseball team won last night. They play again tomorrow. And we went to football practice this morning, so Mike Scarborough will be with us. Went to Brian Kelly's press conference. We got some stuff from him. Players' championships going on. We got college basketball all over the place, so a lot to get to. Let me start with LSU's 72-67 win against Georgia last night. Yesterday, we said, you know, the only way that LSU goes on any kind of run here, and frankly, I wasn't expecting it, but when the line came out and they were 2-point favorites, like, okay, this this kind of caught my attention. And you looked at, and Georgia was playing just as bad as LSU. And going back to the last game in which these two teams played in Athens about 3 weeks ago, LSU could have and maybe should have won that game. But I could have sat here, and I didn't devote a whole lot of time to it yesterday. Frankly, this team, has not been good. They've not been interesting. And anything that we've had on LSU basketball, as honest as I can put it, has been negative. So, we've done our due diligence, but when it's that bad and the apathy has, sunk in, I don't want to beat my audience's head against the wall by saying, hey, you know what, we're going to devote a lot of time to this. Nobody's going to games. Nobody's talking about the team. Nobody's doing anything. Something's got to happen to spur some interest. And as it always happens in sports, something did. If I had chosen yesterday to do an hour on LSU's game against Georgia, okay, I would have really been in pain, the type of physical pain that you get when, something hurts. But I could have done it, I could have gone through it. I could have gone through all the personnel. I could have done all this thing. If I had done an hour yesterday, not one time would I have even considered the possibility that Sean Phillips would score 13 points and have 10 rebounds. I mean, not once. If I had said that, you guys would have laughed at me. Audience would have laughed at me, okay? Because why would I predict anything so outlandish? Sean Phillips came to LSU with a tremendous amount of promise. He's a 7-foot player. He was pretty highly recruited and had tremendous promise, and to this point has barely played. Sean Phillips had 13 points last night. He had 12 coming in for the season. He had 13 points last night, and he had 12 for the season. He had 10 rebounds last night, and he had 29 for the season. So if I come in here yesterday and I say, you know what I think? I think the key tonight is going to be Sean Phillips. You guys would have said, drinking in the morning again? I mean, well, what are you talking about? Because outside of that, LSU didn't play a particularly strong game. They limited the turnovers, which was what killed them in Athens. They turned the ball over 19 times in Athens. They turned the ball over 5 times last night. But they didn't shoot it particularly well. They shot 36% from the floor. They didn't shoot well from 3. They shot 20% from 3. They didn't shoot a lot more free throws than Georgia. About even. They didn't out-rebound them by all that much. It was about even. This 7-foot freshman who has been in the witness protection program for 3.5 months showed up and had 13 points and 10 rebounds. Okay. Yeah, I've been at this a while. I'm not that clairvoyant, man. I can't look at something like that and say, yeah, man, you know what? I think the guy's going to come off the bench and he's really going to do something. Nope, didn't have that one. When we finish the season, whenever that is, tonight, tomorrow, whatever, we'll go back and I will ask a question. I'll just give you a little preview as to why these guys didn't come along faster. Why did it take 32 games to get Phillips to play a game like that? Why did it take that long to get Tyrell Ward in the lineup or Reed? Why hasn't he come along more? Those are the things that we'll talk about when the season is over. But for the time being, a little bit of light, a little bit of something positive for LSU basketball. And since there's been precious little of that to talk about, I thought I would lead with it today. Matt McMahon on the win against Georgia.
Thankful for the opportunity to advance here in the SEC tournament. It was a fun game, a great atmosphere. I was not expecting that many people here on opening night. I hope I'm never back for opening night, but that was a lot of fun. Really proud of the way our guys responded. As we all know, we've had some 10, 12-point leads where we haven't been able to sustain it and find a way to win. Georgia did a great job fighting to get back in the game and tie it up. Had all the momentum, and I thought our guys really responded well and found a way to win.
If you think I'm grasping at straws for things positive, you're right. Okay, I'm not even going to try and bluff my way through that. This is a very small piece of light in what has been a season of almost nothing but darkness. But play along with me here for a second. It's March, right? They're a 4-point dog tonight against Vanderbilt. They beat Vanderbilt 2 weeks ago. I don't know if they're going to beat Vanderbilt again tonight. I mean, it's a bit much to ask if they're going to go out and shoot 36% again and win again. Vanderbilt is better than Georgia. But, I was out on the practice field this morning and I was visiting with, another member of the media on the way out about what's positive, what can you build on? And that'll be one of the big themes as soon as the season is over, because Matt McMahon gets one mulligan and that's pretty much it. Okay, I get that there's a probation. Maybe the investigation, maybe that'll be done by the time they start practice in October. I don't want to give the NCAA too much credit, but maybe they will, at least send somebody to work on this thing, and they can tell you one way or the other what's going to happen with it. But past, and so I think that there'll be some resolution to that by next season. I would certainly hope so. But other than that, you're grasping at straws. I can't tell you that a single player is for sure 100% going to be back next year that's on the current roster. And I don't know who they're going to bring in the transfer portal or in recruiting. So next year is, at this point in my mind, a complete unknown. So I'm looking for positives. This was a positive. A 7-foot freshman who hasn't played at all finds himself in the NCAA tournament. I mean, the guy played 25 minutes last night. Give him 25 more tonight. I don't care if you win or lose. Let me see what he's going to do. I've seen him deal with failure. All you do is push him further down the bench. Let me see what he does with some success. Okay, maybe that would be something you can build on. Maybe they win a game. Maybe they win 2. Hell, maybe they don't lose till Friday. And you go into the offseason, it's like, well, you know what? Toward the end of the season, our younger players were playing a little bit better. We got to win against Vanderbilt, who was okay. We got to win against Georgia in the SEC tournament. Maybe we get another win against Vanderbilt. And, yeah, I'm still grasping at straws. But, again, play along here while they're still alive. There's been plenty of time to just say, they stink and I don't want to talk about them. We've been doing that for 3 months. So give them a little bit of credit for winning last night. See if they can build on it. Take some kind of positivity into the off season. I'm a positive person, man. By general nature, I'd like to see that. Continue. All right, LSU baseball last night with a 9-2 win against Lamar. Outside of the Texas game, this is LSU's best win of the season, in my opinion. Lamar was 10-2 coming in. They had beaten Texas A&M earlier. We saw Christian Little in a starting role for the first time, and he did about what I expected him to do, throw somewhere between 50 and 60 pitches and get them into the middle part of the game. I think Jay Johnson has got a good problem to have. I don't even want to call it a problem. He's got real good options with Christian Little. This is a good start for Christian Little. We've seen Christian Little have good starts at Vanderbilt. We've seen Christian Little close games. We've seen Christian Little bounce back on, not needing 6 days rest like a full-time starter. So I was really pleased to see that. 8 strikeouts for the staff last night, only 1 walk. Garrett Edwards, again, another long reliever. We did the podcast on Wednesday. Get that Baseball at the Box, 1045ESPN.com. We talked about the options that Jay Johnson has in his rotation and in his bullpen. And they don't need necessarily to designate one guy as a full-time closer. If Little is going back to the bullpen when conference play starts, and I believe that he is, then you can use him in a short closing situation, but you can use him in a longer situation if you'd like to do that too. Gives you some tremendous versatility. Johnson has chosen to take these pre-conference games and in a lot of cases extend guys out of his bullpen rather than looking at a lot of guys for an inning at a time. There's no right or wrong way to do this, but it's to your personnel, know your personnel, see what you got, okay? So now you've got in Christian Little a guy who can be a starter, he can be a short reliever, he can be a long reliever. I would say the same thing for Garrett Edwards. I would say the same thing for Riley Cooper. I think I can say the same thing for Ackenhausen. I'd like to see a little bit more, but I'm pretty confident there. Maybe even Blake Money, who has been a starter and now a reliever. So this was a good win. Jay Johnson talked about beating Lamar.
Good win. I really thought Christian did a good job from the mound. I thought Will gave us some good outs there and kind of reacted well when he maybe wasn't sharp right off the bat and kind of minimized damage. I thought Garrett did a great job. I thought we played outstanding defense tonight. We knew coming in there was going to be a lot of activity in terms of balls on the ground, and I think Jordan and Ben in particular were exceptional. At bats-wise, I thought the first inning was phenomenal. It's a long game, so I don't remember exactly what happened, but I think we went like 8 straight quality at-bats right there. And so to get 2 on the board early is great, and then the next inning, the second time through the order, we really took advantage of the free bases and good at bat by Dylan, good at bat by Tommy, and kind of off and rolling. Pretty good performance across the board.
You got about 98% of this, 95 to 98% of this stuff figured out for conference play. They're in a good spot. I understand the competition hasn't been the best all the time, and I've said my piece on that. But outside of third base, where it looks like it's going to be a minute before Tommy White can throw again. I'm not expecting that to be imminent. Sooner the better, but for the time being, I think they're going to have to go in another direction. So they figure out whether they want to do it. Ben DePaul got a start last night. He got a hit. He did have an error last night. Maybe that's Jobert. Maybe it's something else. But outside of third base, and of course they've got some options at first base / left field with Morgan, and Beloso had a couple of walks last night. We'll see about him and Jared Jones. I do think we'll see a little bit more Ethan Fry over the weekend, maybe some at bats for him. But most of the rest of this, they got down. They've got enough starting pitching. They've got enough bullpen. They've got a righty-lefty combination. They've got enough power. They've got a leadoff hitter. They've got seniors in the lineup. They're ready to go. 4 more games. And then let's see the Iggies because it's time to go. All right, LSU football when we come back. Went to practice this morning. Mike Scarborough was at practice this morning at the Brian Kelly press conference as well. We'll do that when we come back here. This is Hanny Time, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is Hanny Time.
Big Mike's in Denham Springs. Crawfish, they come out every day at 11 o'clock, 7 days a week, so you're never without your ball crawfish fix at Big Mike's. Ball shrimp on Monday nights, it's all you can eat. Mario's going jitterbugging tonight. Jitterbug Swamp Pop lessons tonight starting at 6, and DJ K-Jack on stage after that. Saturday night, it is the Drama Kings at 8 o'clock. You can always count on getting great live music at Big Mike's. Off-site catering is available, but if you want to rent out one of Big Mike's party rooms, you've got multiple sizes for your private events. You can do that as well. And remember that happy hour runs 3 to 7 Monday through Friday, but also all day on Sunday starting at 11 a.m. Right there on Aspen Boulevard, right smack dab in the middle of Denham Springs. It's Big Mike's, where we're kind of a big deal.
Our listeners fire off their opinions on the jimsfirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the jimsfirearms.net hotline on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Bayou Ford has the new inventory to get you in a new Ford truck or SUV today, or customize your next vehicle just the way you want it. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
Hi, I'm Brandon Landry, founder and CEO of Walker.
Hi, my name is Dr. Craig Green.
This is Ryan Terrio with HUDCoRoofing.com.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. No matter how big your commercial roofing job, HUDCO can help.
My patients come to me because they trust that I can get the job done at a high level. Ryan Terrio and Richard Tilley have the same level of trust when it comes to roofing.
If you have a roofing issue, call HUDCO Roofing.
Give us a call, 364-1007, and we'll come to your house and give you a free inspection.
Louisiana. It's a place defined by culture, by pride, by passion, by people who do more than love this place. They celebrate it, elevate it, champion it. They are the individuals who embody what makes Louisiana great. The companies that make Louisiana a better place to work and live. The nonprofits leading transformational change in our communities. Champions of Louisiana are all around us, and LWCC is proud to celebrate them because we've always been Louisiana loyal, supporting the workers, the innovators, the change agents of this great place we call home. Who are the champions around you? Together, we can share their stories. Together, we can help our home state thrive. Together, we are Louisiana loyal. Always.
At Ochsner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Ochsner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one. You. Ochsner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $10,000 off new 2022.
Charles Hannegriff, join us for Jimmy Ott's Game Time from Jolie Pearl in downtown Baton Rouge. It's college basketball, and college basketball. Throwing a little golf, too. Jimmy Ott's Game Time, 6 p.m. weeknights on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is Hanny Time with Charles Hannegriff on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Collectively as a team, we couldn't talk in these terms last year. We were talking about how to practice. We were talking about, not going on one knee during practice, taking your helmet off, throwing your helmet. We were talking much more about emotional control, guys trying to figure out, where they were and what their place was. So you can imagine from my perspective and the coaches, it's great when you can go out into a drill and just talk about competing and not about whether you won or lost the drill, but whether you used really good technique.
Brian Kelly, after practice number 1 out on the Ponderosa today, we say hello to Mike Scarborough from TigerBait.com. Mike, good morning. How are you?
Good to be with you. That soundbite right there is fine and good. And of course, you've got a bunch of guys who are out there and are returning, but he sure does have a whole lot of new faces. They're going to be basically following the lead of the guys who have been in the program, but it's not like he's got a whole run of roster that's the same as last year because I haven't totaled up the number because the roster was posted so late, but the number of new faces that are out there at practice, it's going to take several practices to get a handle on it.
Yeah, spring is always about who's available to you. Early entries, early enrollees are great. The more the better. But there's always players that are dealing with injuries from the season left over, and, of course, freshmen that haven't gotten here yet. And there may be some more tweaks transfer-wise. Let me start with Marlon Martinez. I thought this was one of the more interesting quotes of the post-practice presser, which was that we knew Martinez was going to get the first-team reps at center with Charles Turner out. Brian Kelly said that he hopes that Martinez is on the team in the fall and said the transfer portal is going to open again. We hope he stays. That's pretty candid, Mike. If Martinez shows out in the spring, doesn't Turner have a chance to get his job back in August? And if he doesn't show out, then he doesn't come back, maybe, according to Kelly, and there's no competition for it in August drills.
Yeah, and you were there this morning and trying to get a look around the corner to where they had the offensive line slotted. I was able to get my camera in there a little bit, but to see who all they're working there at center, we heard a little bit about possibly Bo Bordelon. But, how many bodies is he going to have to work there that it would make him think that Martinez might not, be in the mix in talking about the second transfer portal period?
It was just a really candid comment. Maybe I don't want to say a warning shot, but maybe an indication that he's telling Martinez, "Hey, look, the job is yours. We want you here. Just go show out in spring." Now, I don't know how Turner feels about that. Because he's been the starting center most of the way. But Mike, you remember the game that Martinez played last year, and there's a pretty sizable difference in what Marlon Martinez is size-wise. Charles Turner, played the position at 295 pounds. Marlon Martinez is 330 pounds. It's pretty easy to see why Kelly is pushing Martinez at that center spot. Now, I'm only leading with it because it's such an important position on that offensive line, and we know who the quarterback's going to be. So this is one of the things in spring I think is important.
Well, see, now you say we think we know who the quarterback's going to be, but there's a whole contingent of the fan base is going to get mad at you for picking one of them.
I didn't pick one of them. The coach did. Based on play. There'll be plenty of time to argue about that in the summer. But tell me what you think about the offensive line.
Well, I mean, look, it's when you got the two freshmen that are returning all SEC freshmen and guys that you look to be All-Americans, and you've got a lot of bodies there that are returning. But he's also, he also says he was thin today. So you're going to get some more guys back in the summer. But, that's a group that I hope that we're able to get more of a view of if we're going to be relegated to that one sideline. But, when you look at the list of who's not available this spring because of injury, all the positions, they're a little thin in places.
Well, in spring, I can accept that as long as I know that the reinforcements are coming. I thought that Emory Jones, who's listed on the roster, and you're right, they released this pretty late, but listed at 325 pounds, he looked slimmed down to me a little bit. He, had a terrific freshman year, but he looked really good, and I was kind of trying to put some eyeballs on him because there is a very good chance that he'll get some work at guard in the spring. In fact, he's going to get some work at guard. It's just a matter of how much. And if Zalen's Hurd shows up in August the way they hope he does and is a candidate to start, then Jones could slide down inside. But that's, that remains to be seen. The other place that they were real thin today was at running back. We knew that they were going to be without Armani Goodwin. They are also without John Emery, who he said has academic marks to hit, and Josh Williams, who's still working through the injury that cost him games at the end of last season. So, hey, for Trey Holly fans, there'll be plenty of reps to look at when we release some of that practice video.
Yeah, in fact, my video is about done rendering. It should be live as soon as I hang up with you. But I got a good bit of Trey Holly this morning. But I don't know about you, things that I was hearing last fall and what was the future of John Emery. Honestly, I was kind of shocked that he was back for 23. Of course, there's still a portal period, but some of you talk about Brian Kelly being candid. He was candid again today about that. An academic and certain benchmarks that he's got to meet in order to get back where he needs to be in the football program. And I think it's just some of those things where it's like we keep waiting for Emery to arrive, and it goes year after year after year. And now you've got a full, once healthy, that running back room has got the numbers. And, I think there's probably a bit of exasperation with John Emery, and people are just ready to cut bait.
Well, I understand that, And had he moved on, I would have understood that. But if you're here, get on the field and show something. I'm not waiting. I'm not counting on him to be LSU's lead back or even a.
It's gravy if he does show up and is the guy.
Yeah.
But to me, if you're looking at the running back room, you're like you're looking at everybody else, and if Emory shows up and is the guy, then it's a cherry on top. But if not, I wouldn't count on him.
He's flashed just enough to make you want this guy to be a player that you can count on. They just never have been able to, and so I'm not again.
But what offsets those flashes is the putting the ball on the ground. It's negated in my mind.
Well, no, absolutely, and in the eyes of the coaches as well. We got a chance to see. We were standing right in front of where the tight ends were working today, and this is another position where freshmen are going to get all the reps that they can handle and more. With Mason Taylor missing the spring, we're going to get a good long look at Mac Markway and Jackson McGowan. I watched a little bit of that. Again, we were in there for a short period of time. Mike, what I see is two really big frame guys who are willing blockers, but are going to have a ways to go in that respect. And then I didn't see him catch passes today, but we know what Brian Kelly wants to do with the tight end. So I don't know if you got a chance to watch him more than I did, but that's two guys. Yeah,
I did. And Macway's a little bit a bigger guy than McGowan, but both of them looked the part, and I think they look every bit as mature physically as Mason Taylor did, although not quite as big and not expected to be as a threat of a receiving tight end. But because of Taylor being out, like you said, they're going to get a lot of opportunity to grow and be guys that can give you a number 2 and possibly a number 3 tight end. So you could have a true sophomore and two true freshmen heading up your group.
Another player that I put an eye on this morning because I think it was easy for him to get lost, but Omar Spates, the transfer from Oregon State, is an awfully good-looking player. One of the popular phrases is plug and play. You just plug and play that guy. But a lot of times that's not true. It's like he's a freshman. You just plug and play. Those guys are rare. He looks like a true plug and play player to me. I mean, this guy's had over 300 tackles at Oregon State. He's not the tallest cat in the world, but man, is he thick, and I like the way he moves. He looks like a plug and play guy to me, Mike.
Yeah, he is, and I don't know how much you were able to focus on that position. I was going to rely on my video to see what it's one of these deals where you go to practice in video, and it's like I need to see what I've got once I get in the computer. But I certainly looked at him, but I didn't get a good look at Whit Weeks, who I've been kind of another guy who I think can surprise the people with the ability to contribute early. And of course, we all know about Harold Perkins, but
yes, Harold Perkins, number 4.
Yes,
that took 40, that threw me a minute.
40 is Weeks.
I looked at 40. I'm like, that's not Perkins. It's like, no. He's wearing number 4 now. Okay. Corners, lots of them. You got to, and I'm not asking you based off of this morning. This is more of a general thing. You got a favorite or two? We know that Chestnut's not going to be able to go in the spring, but everybody else pretty much is. You got a pecking order in your head on the corners?
Well, if you're going to just talk about the newcomers, without Chestnut being in the mix, certainly it's Denver Harrison and maybe Toviano. Okay.
All right, I got to throw everybody a bone. I'll ask you about the quarterbacks. He did have a quote in the pre-spring practice interview that he did with the Advocate. He says, I think we play one quarterback. I had no problem with that. I don't read anything cryptic into that. I just say, hey, the same thing I said going into the bowl game, going into the offseason. Daniels is on the team. He's the best quarterback. He's a starting quarterback, and he's going to play pretty much all of the quarterback reps unless there's some kind of injury. And I still feel that way. It's spring practice, so we'll see Garrett Nussmeier. And he had what do you call it, a corrective surgery, I think was the term that he used. But to me, there's no quarterback battle. There's no quarterback controversy. Daniels is a starter and Nussmeier's a backup, and that's how that goes to school.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think the scenario for Nussmeier to play is any different than it was last season. I mean, the wheels, to me, the wheels would have to totally come off, or similar to the SEC championship game against Georgia, that type of scenario. Daniels is the guy. But I will say that, building the program and gearing up for the future, you do hope that Nussmeier is able to get a considerable amount more playing time, just so you don't go into 2024 with a guy who doesn't have as much experience as you'd like to have, because that could be the year when you start slotting and figuring out what LSU's going to have that season, and maybe possibly the way the schedule stacks up. Is that the year where LSU can really make a move and be in playoff contention? You would like to have Nussmeier with a good bit more experience, and certainly maybe have the answer as to whether he has eliminated the turnovers and the gunslinger thing.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. All right, you were talking about practice video and stuff. I know you're covering this all throughout this spring. So how can people sign up, get access to all the video and all the coverage on TigerBait.com?
That's it. Got Brian Kelly's full press conference up already. Got a practice report. Sanji and I did one, and that's up on the site. All that stuff's free, and my practice video is going to be up within minutes on the front page of the site. And we got like 10 to 12 minutes of really high-end stuff there to watch.
Very good, Mike. We always appreciate it. We'll be checking in with you multiple times throughout the spring. Thanks a bunch.
All right, Charlie. Thanks for having me. Talk soon.
Mike Scarborough from TigerBait.com. All right, Mississippi State with a 10-point lead against Florida, 27-17. They're at the under 8 media timeout in the first half in Nashville at the SEC tournament. We'll get you up to date what the rest of the stuff that's going on. Pelicans win last night. They're undefeated when Mario does a Spanish broadcast. I think we finally unlocked the key component for the Pelicans the rest of the season. We'll talk a little bit about that. This is Hanny Time, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one. You. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
I had to leave my parents. I had to move schools. I don't know anyone here. Everything keeps changing. Why is this happening to me? I'm sure glad you're here.
Change a child's story. There's a child in foster care waiting for a volunteer like you.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset, What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Louisiana. It's a place defined by culture, by pride, by passion, by people who do more than love this place. They celebrate it, elevate it, champion it. They are the individuals who embody what makes Louisiana great. The companies that make Louisiana a better place to work and live. The nonprofits leading transformational change in our communities. Champions of Louisiana are all around us, and LWCC is proud to celebrate them because we've always been Louisiana loyal, supporting the workers, the innovators, the change agents of this great place we call home. Who are the champions around you? Together, we can share their stories. Together, we can help our home state thrive. Together, we are Louisiana loyal. Always.
Hi, I'm Brandon Landry, founder and CEO of Walker.
Hi, my name is Dr. Craig Green.
This is Ryan Terrio with HUDCORoofing.com.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. No matter how big your commercial roofing job, HUDCO can help.
My patients come to me because they trust that I can get the job done at a high level. Ryan Terrio and Richard Tilley have the same.
Don't miss the LHSAA Boys Select Division I Basketball Championship game between the number 1 seeded Scotlandville Hornets and the 3 seeded Catholic High Bears this Saturday at 6 p.m. on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is Hanny Time with Charles Hannegriff on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Mississippi State up 14 on the Castleton-less Florida Gators with about 6 minutes to go in the first half. Some of the other games that we're watching, Rutgers with a 4-point lead against Michigan. That's halfway through the second half. Miami cruising now against Wake Forest. They had some problems early. Marquette, who was down 10 at the half to St. John's, is still down 5 at about 11 minutes to go in that game, and that's to get you up to date on what's going on right now with college basketball. There were two big stories since yesterday in college hoops. One of them was the end of the career of Jim Boeheim at Syracuse. The fact that Boeheim is not going to be the coach at Syracuse anymore was something that I, kind of thought was a real possibility, but I wasn't sure. I thought it was Boeheim's call, though. I really did, until I heard the press conference yesterday after the game, where it was a kind of a cryptic, well, yeah, I gave my retirement speech last Saturday, but nobody picked up on it. That's because you didn't say that you were retiring. You just kind of talked about your time at Syracuse. And then when they asked him, are you retiring? He says, well, that's not up to me. Well, oh, do you want to come back? Well, that's up to the administration. Well, that doesn't sound like a retirement. That sounds like he got fired. And let me say this. The press release that came out that said that he wouldn't be back came out about 3 hours after the game, meaning that Syracuse was not yet back to Syracuse by the time. They Lane Kiffin this guy who's been there for 47 years. They fired him at the airport. They can say whatever the hell they want. You put out a press release 3 hours after the game saying, thanks, coach, for the 47 years, and we're going to put your lead assistant in your place. This was Bush League at its zenith, partner. You fire a guy 47 years before he gets to the airport to go home? Come on, man. Oh, we did it to get a jump on a coaching search. No, the coach is right there. You've already hired him. This was a coup d'etat. Now, Boeheim's been a little bit grumpy of late. And when I say of late, I'm talking about the last couple of years. Just like Roy Williams and Mike Krzyzewski and Jay Wright and, the older coaches, that have accomplished everything that they can accomplish in the sport. They have won a massive amount of games. They are all going to be in the Hall of Fame. They have won national championships. They have made more money than they can spend, and they don't want to deal with transfer portal and NIL. Completely understandable. Now, Boeheim probably went a little bit overboard when he just said, that teams like Pitt and Wake Forest had just bought their teams, okay? I understand his frustration level, but that being said, the rules are the rules, okay? I'm on social media and I don't like it, but that's how the game is played now. They didn't have to fire this guy at Greensboro. See, Syracuse is supposed to be in the Big East. They didn't have to fire this guy in North Carolina yesterday, okay? They could have brought him back. They could have set up a press conference today. They could have had him craft a statement. They could have go and say, listen, guys, I'm retiring. And maybe they did. Maybe they did say, you can retire or we're going to fire you. And if they said that and Boeheim said, you're going to have to fire me because I'm not leaving, then they could have done that. They didn't have to do it 3 hours after the game. They're still playing, okay? This is like when a Supreme Court justice dies and before they even have the funeral, they're putting up nominees, okay? The body's not even cold. The other story is with Bill Self, who's going to miss Kansas's game today. I was asked, he has an undisclosed illness. He is at the University of Kansas Health System and is not going to coach today's game. Was asked in the Bayou 4 chat if this is potentially serious and related to a heart issue. I don't know. I'm reading the same thing that you're reading. This came out a few hours ago in regards to Bill Self. So how serious it is, I'm not sure, but he's going to miss today's game against West Virginia. Last night at the Blender, the Pelicans took a 18-point lead to the fourth quarter against the Mavericks. No problem, man. They're going home. This is a win, right, Mario?
It looked like it.
You were there.
I was.
You were calling the game. What is your record now with the Spanish broadcast?
3-0.
3-0.
3-0.
If they don't put you under contract for the rest of the season, they're just not exploring all of their available options to them. What did you think when the Mavericks started to make their run in the fourth quarter last night?
I thought they were going to lose. No doubt in my mind. CJ McCollum definitely saved the
You're
Pelicans.
playing for a contract now.
Ha!
Okay.
I'll take one.
All right.
Happily.
CJ McCollum, the splint is what I want to talk about because you had a first-hand view of that. We talked about McCollum's thumb last week when Mark Spears spent a week with him. CJ was talking about how bad the thumb was hurting him. It's something that he will probably have to have corrective surgery on. They in the offseason. They changed the splint to something smaller, and apparently this worked last night.
It did. Trey Murphy actually video bombed his interview with ESPN to shout out the smaller splint. Like, it made a difference, apparently. Not just CJ noticed, but the whole team did. And he talked after the game about actually getting a chance to be at home. The Pelicans have been on the road so much. He got to actually sleep in his bed, eat a home-cooked meal. Hopefully that'll help mend the injury that he's playing through.
It's so I don't want to say frustrating, but it's so tantalizing where this team could be. It was listening to the national broadcast this morning saying, you know what, they're a top 4 team in the West if Zion's there. But, of course, the news with Zion was bad again yesterday. And before the game, it said it's going to be 2 more weeks. You ever see that movie, The Money Pit?
Love that movie.
The Money Pit is one of the. It's an older Tom Hanks movie. It's an '80s movie, and the premise of it is that he and Shelley Long plays his girlfriend, and they buy a house that looks great, but once they get into it, everything goes wrong. Everything that could be wrong with this house is wrong. And there's a running joke throughout the movie that every time he brings in the carpenter, the plumber, the contractors, whatever, he says, "How long is it going to take to fix the whole thing?" And they say 2 weeks. 2 weeks. And the whole movie, they just go through. The fireplace collapses, the stairs collapse, the kitchen catches on fire, the bathtub falls through the floor. How long is it going to take this? 2 weeks. That's how I feel with Zion Williamson. Every time I ask, 2 weeks. And, of course, it's never 2 weeks. It's months and months and months and months. So 2 weeks for me. We should get a sounder. Matt likes sounders. Matt's the program director. Now, we should get a sounder. How long was that? 2 weeks. I can see the guy, the contractor. Yeah, the house is a disaster. 2 weeks. 2 more weeks. He's not going to play again this season. Come on. Willie Green on the win against the Mavericks last night.
I thought CJ was huge down the stretch of the game. He made big shot after big shot. And that's what it takes for us to have an opportunity to win games like this. And then collectively, all of our guys just followed the game plan to a T. Jackson Hayes was great. Dyson, Najee, Trey, Herb, across the board. Billy, even our bigs getting into foul trouble, but the effort was there.
2 games out of 6th place. 2 games out of 6th. With all of the stuff that is going on, 2 games out of 6th place. 6th place means you don't have to play in the play-in. 1 game out of 11th place, which means you don't get to play in the play-in. And right now they're in the play-in. By the way, if the season ends, you want to see the business end of a conniption fit, let the season end the way the standings are right now. Nothing will drive me crazier. The Pelicans end up in 10th place and the Lakers end up in 9th place. This is the worst of all possible outcomes. If the season were ending today, I would be furious because it would be the worst of all possible options. No benefit to the pick swap. You got in the playoffs, so you didn't get a chance in the Victor sweepstakes, and you're in the worst possible position in the playoffs to where you might get one game. So I don't want it to finish like this. I would rather them finish in 12th place than in 10th place. I know that sounds crazy, and last year I didn't think that. It's not that I'm reversing myself, but I thought last year, first of all, there wasn't a Victor Wembanyama in the draft last year. There were good players in the draft, but there wasn't a transcendent talent like Victor. I thought last year it was beneficial for the Pelicans to get in the playoffs rather than to get into the lottery. And it turned out to be even better than I thought because they got into a real playoff series. They got through the play-in. I thought that the team needed to see some success. I thought that they needed to see something positive and get those guys some postseason experience because they were moving forward. I thought that was more important than 4 balls out of 1,500 in the hopper for Jabari Smith or Paolo Banchero. This year, I don't feel that way. If it's one game, if it's potentially one game and done, I'd rather have 4 out of 1,500 ping pong balls in the hopper for a shot at Victor. But now if they're in 6th place, that's different. Now I get a full playoff series. Now I get to play maybe a team like Memphis or Sacramento. Memphis is having their problems right now. Ja's got to go home and pack his gun away, so they'll let him play again. Kings have never, this group has not been in the playoffs. I know they score a lot and they've had a terrific season, but let's get them into the playoffs and let's see. So if it's 6th place, I feel differently. But if they finish in 10th damn place and the Lakers finish in 9th place, I'm just going to be mad. I'm just going to be mad the whole way. 2 more weeks on Zion Williamson. Take a break. Take some of your questions when we come back. It's Hanny Time, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is Hanny Time.
Acura and Infinity of Baton Rouge. Right now, Infinity looking to buy your car right off the street. Whether you are trading it in for another model or you just want to see what it's worth or you want to sell it for cash, Infinity of Baton Rouge will be able to tell you within 15 minutes what your vehicle is worth. And if you do want to get into the certified pre-owned selection at Infinity, do what we did just less than 2 weeks ago. Specify what you're looking for from an age and mileage standpoint. When you get a certified pre-owned vehicle from Infinity, you know it's going to be inspected back up to code. They're so confident in that they're going to give you a 6-year, 100,000-mile powertrain warranty, plus a year's worth of prepaid maintenance and a courtesy vehicle when you do come in for maintenance to have that done. Roadside assistance is included on your certified pre-owned package. Listen, I've been through the process and the transparency and pricing a number of times with Acura and Infinity of Baton Rouge. I keep going back because it's the service that I get, it's the comfort that I have in the entire process. Do the same for you at Acura and Infinity of Baton Rouge.
Our listeners fire off their opinions on the jimsfirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the jimsfirearms.net hotline on 1045 ESPN Baton Rouge.
At Ochsner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Ochsner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one. You. Ochsner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
I had to leave my parents. I had to move schools. I don't know anyone here. Everything keeps changing. Why is this happening to me? I'm sure glad you're here.
Change a child's story. There's a child in foster care waiting for a volunteer like you.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Louisiana. It's a place defined by culture, by pride, by passion, by people who do more than love this place. They celebrate it, elevate it, champion it. They are the individuals who embody what makes Louisiana great. The companies that make Louisiana a better place to work and live. The nonprofits leading transformational change in our communities. Champions of Louisiana are all around us, and LWCC is proud to celebrate them because we've always been Louisiana loyal, supporting the workers, the innovators, the change agents of this great place we call home. Who are the champions around you? Together, we can share their stories. Together, we can help our home state thrive. Together, we are Louisiana loyal.
On Fridays, Off the Bench. The fellas, get you ready for the final non-conference baseball weekend. Did LSU basketball manage to make it 2 in a row against Vandy? Break down all the action from day one of spring football. Off the Bench, 7 to 10 a.m., 104.5 ESPN.
This is Hanny Time with Charles Hannegriff on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Players are tearing up Sawgrass right now. Chad Ramey in with a bogey-free 64 is your clubhouse leader. Cullen Markawa also a bogey-free 65. 7 under is 1 back, and there's just a pile of people between 3 under and 8 under, which is your lead right now. A lot of golf to go at the Players. College basketball, Marquette trying to hang on against St. John's, 4-point lead with 4 minutes to go. Miami also an 8-point lead against Wake Forest, about 3 minutes to go there. Rutgers, who had been struggling, putting it to Michigan now, 54-42, 3.5 minutes to go there. Baylor, an 8-point lead on Iowa State early in the second half. And Mississippi State, they are almost to the break now, 40 seconds to the break, 36-24 over Florida. Somebody asked me my favorite pick later today. I'll be honest with you. I liked Michigan this morning, and I liked Baylor as well. So that's looking a little bit like a split. Penn State, right there on the bubble, catching 2 against Illinois. I don't hate that. Bayou Ford chat, since we brought up Money Pit, they want to know what my favorite Tom Hanks movie is. And I liked a lot of his stuff, okay? But my favorite, I got to tell you, is Apollo 13. And I've said that I've quoted that movie on enough occasions on the show that people are probably sick of it. But I love that movie. I knew how it was going to. If I know how a movie's going to end because I knew the story of Apollo 13, and I go in there and I'm still on the edge of my seat, that's pretty good. I will give Castaway a vote though, because the guy's such a good actor that he actually made me care about a volleyball. That's pretty good. You guys got a Tom Hanks favorite? Money Pit was hysterical.
Money Pit's good. I've always liked The Burbs. That was like the first Tom Hanks movie I really remember, like that my parents showed me when I was younger. So The Burbs has always been like a good one for me.
You know what I like about The Burbs? The very first scene of The Burbs, he's out on his front porch. And
Talking about the coffee cup?
Yeah.
Yeah,
and
he throws the coffee.
He's in his bathrobe, and the paperboy comes by on the bike, and he's like, hey, give me mine. And the paperboy throws the newspaper where he can't get it, so he throws his coffee at the paperboy. It's the very first. I mean, the credits haven't even rolled yet, and I'm already laughing. The rest of the movie was just, I thought that was the funniest scene in the damn movie.
It was the funniest scene in the movie.
He throws the coffee at the paperboy. Mario, you got a favorite?
Shout out Forrest Gump, man. That's a good one.
The Forrest Gump is a classic. Okay, it's really, really good. There are a couple of votes in there for worst Tom Hanks movies. Joe versus the Volcano. Yeah, that one was.
I haven't seen it.
That you don't need to. He didn't make that many bad ones, and that was probably an early '90s movie. That one you can skip that one. A couple of votes for Road to Perdition, which was actually a very good movie in a role you don't see him in very often. Thanks to everybody for participating. We'll be back for Jimmy Ott's Game Time 6 o'clock tonight. From Jolie Pearl, for Mario Jerez, for Taylor Sharp, I'm Charles Hanniger saying thank you and good afternoon. Hunt Palmer's going to come in here and gloat about his LSU basketball prediction. That's next.